야, 다 대응하는 거죠. 제제 지고 동비 간에 네 이제 라다 에테지티 살아네 이제 아니 다 니티 아니 로아노니 니티가 다 좀 컴플레이어 트그레 시디 살아 아니 타와 뉴델레어 트그레 시디 가살네 지네니 뉴데지 딩을 때지 슈어레스.
Okay, so if you can, we can recollect from the last week, towards the end of the last week teachings. So in associations with that, the first line of that, the verse of paying homage. So where, which is the homage which is paid to the knower of basis, saying that the knower of the basis lead or guide the hearers and the solitary realizers to achieve their goal of nirvana or the liberations. So and so then from these. Then our discussions went to the nature of the nirvanas and the different types or the divisions of nirvanas.
Tati kasala ne chune ni nyungde ko te shuare. Tene nyungde singe telan ta yongju chi shuaina. Ne nyedro pumbi kan goden tawochi. Ne nyungde ka ten shao gyore. Ne tela rimanda wa sa sene. So
nirvana, so in brief, so is the state of cessations of the obstructions to liberations and all the mental afflictions. So and then in terms of the division, so there are four types of nirvanas.
Tate sonunani chiji nani ta suji pope jile yasha ores. Dini pompi kungu desi na suji pope jile yasha yongore. Manebe nyo desi ta di milo nyo manebe nyo desi gore. 다 델라마니 테메치 뉴데텔라 아니 로지 뉴데도 로메 뉴데 니에 와시오레스.
So there's one nirvanas called of non-abiding nirvana. So that is the exists only that is the nirvana which is within the continuum of a Buddha in the form of the truth of cessations. So it's it's called the state of nirvana or the state of cessations. Within the continuum of a Buddha is called this non-abiding nirvanas, and then next to nirvanas which are nirvana with remainders and without remainder.
제장아다 대니기 제와대 간리스는 샤워르세나 네 테메지 뉴데 공실라 둥아지 로마 도 제마지 공고네 샤워레스.
And then we in the last teaching, so we made the difference between the nirvana with remainder and without the remainder on the basis that both are the nirvana of a lesser vehicle or of Hinayana, and the difference is between the two is with the remainder is the remainder nirvana with the which has the remainder of the of the aggregates of the sufferings, and whereas without the remainder is without the remainder of the aggregate of sufferings.
제자네 dunga to loma chemachi senge te yana ne pena ngatsi chigu poteni dunga de mare de yore tagaro tsetel da chombe ko poto sona ne lapote jewolu meiza tagaro dunga de mare de yores ne tiji chengu de te ne dunga to loma to che esene ane tne chemachi ngone jago yores.
So just to clarify these, the meaning of the remainder and without the remainder, or specifically the truth of the aggregate of sufferings, which is really the reference of the remainders or without remainders. So for examples, so the kind of the aggregates or like this form body that we currently possess, so is the truth of sufferings. It's the propelled by the by karma and mental afflictions, and so. But then within this lifetime duration, during this lifetime, or before we die, if we achieve or if you attain the state of nirvanas, and then even though we have achieved nirvana, but the body, the aggregate that we possess is still the same, aggregates of which is the truth of sufferings. So therefore, that within this, the nirvana which we have attained within this life, so it is called as nirvana with remainder.
제장하다 유네 인생이 저기 잘 테메지 문제 강하시 능아지 로마도 제파스 아니 등매지 문제 고시 능아 로마도 자와스네 진이 샤거요레스 아니 다tin 진이 샤가 이자 다tin 가절랑 도파텔라 아니 테메지 문제 공시세네 말라나 아니 능아도 로마 제피 문제 때라 로제 다좀베제 저니 문제이다 아니 로제다 니디 니롱 다좀베제 문제다 아니 야지 등아 로마도 자와이나 아니 자유가 뉴데데 아니 다 소면 뉴데지 라네베 니티니로다 좀 베지죠 뉴데임비 아니 저거를 저거 말이지 디 스터라 테메지 뉴데 공치세네 마메나 아니 시행가를 열에스네 다 딩을 저거지도 해버렸어.
And then if you can recall that we finished the last week's teaching with one cautions which relating to this the nirvana, these two types of nirvanas, and which if you look in the full statement of the definitions, then there is a mention of we say that it should be the both must be a nirvana of a lesser vehicles, right? And then the remainder or without remainder is to do with whether has the aggregates of suffering or not. And so left a caution for everyone that whether if there is any problems, logical or any problem arise, if we if we don't include that first wording, that's saying this nirvana of a lesser vehicles. So if we don't mention, if we don't include that this wording, the lesser vehicle in the definitions, then what we will end up is that that all the nirvanas, any nirvanas which is which has the remainder of aggregate suffering or not. So must should be this nirvana with or without remainder.
제장아 뒤트와티 콜라타 지랑족이 소노톤 바치 돈이지 에트니 예오이치 에스르와 아니 드니치 제토와이나 아니 수수 라에테 도파치에테 니스파 레메나야 아니 수수 몽발라 아니 jelangine imba hakon salane sembalan jodeatni ke pembo peores jezangangin dane me toka kosa te jelune sonoto pachi doli chete yete ne kechimure serva
so I assuming that you have given a bit of thought on this whether whether you come up with some answer that maybe this is if we don't include this that first wording and those wording of the lesser vehicle, then there is some problem arise. So regardless of that, whether there's a problem, whether you find some problem or not, but what is the important is to give a really thing on this, and also bring this caution up with if you don't find anything, whether find with the other friends that who is doing the teaching, and then have a bit of the discussions, going among yourself, and that is the very good important part of learning. And also through discussions, then when we find something, some new idea, then it really stays in our mind very firm.
제장타 소소소노 동사 드랭 따셔와 나는 게 용기 아니 다 동마도 로마도 제바테니 다 로제 뇽데 세니잖아 런디고 말에 가르세나 인티 다좀 받다가로 세텔로요 태체로요 쉬운동에 태체 총론 받더니 요레스 아니 고소니 챔피메와 인자 저보다 다가로요 킨도 되어래 대인자 저보다 니 둥가 덴바레 대인자 키지 죽은 고대요래 고대대 둥가 뭐로마도 제페 뇽데레 되어레스 키지 뇽데요로 뇽데대 둥가 로마도 제페 뇽데레 되어래 이나 로제 뇽데레요 말레스
So I'm not sure anyone has come up with these questions. So which if I share with you, so if we exclude that word, the lesser vehicles in that the statement of the definitions of this the nirvana with or without remainder, then if we then take into account, for example, if you take into account of someone's one who have achieved the someone who is enter into the lesser vehicles and who have attained this nirvana with remainder, but then without living that life, or in another word, in that same very lifetime, if that person then enter into the greater vehicle of or the Mahayana, then even though he or she possess the same form of body, same form of life body, but however because that the person is entering into Mahayana path, so therefore the nirvana that person possess, so it cannot be qualified, cannot be called as the nirvana with remainder.
제장 안에 다 둥가도 로마도 trawa singitelayu tagaru re ane nyinti dachumbe yin jimi kone ni tsempine ane dewa jel shen goyore tani dewa je te che ane nyinti dachumba te ane tsetela yung teche lao shun rogorwa teche lao shun rogdi tsala king modu dudere yo mare dunga chalama trawa asingere deyore jecha kiji chen gude te ane dunga chalama trawa tere deyore inanyo lome nyundere yo mares
So the one, who has entered into the Mahayana or the greater vehicles. So because of this, the greater vehicle. So the Nirvana of that is not called as the Nirvana with the remainder because it is not the Nirvana of the lesser vehicle. But yet, if we do not, include in the definition that of that lesser vehicle, then we have to say that Nirvana, within the continuum of that the Mahayana is Nirvana with the remainder. So likewise, we can also think of the example of now we can have an example of a lesser somebody who is on the lesser vehicle and who have achieved the Nirvana, and then when the person leave this body, this aggregate of the sufferings, then will attain, of course, will automatically then attain the Nirvana without remainder, and then the the same person, then when that person enter into the Mahayana path, then would still have the state of Nirvana, but we can't call that because that person is in the Mahayana, enter into the Mahayana path. So the Nirvana is not to be called as Nirvana without remainder loss.
Achezangta te ti ko tni yitni ta wana ne ta pena loche nyunde pe jala ne dunga demba yore ta zapot dunga demba re se tindi gi shegu ina ni ta te lenye ungi dunga demba isa lenye ungi ko shunwa res lenye ungi shunwa isa ngazo chitane khoa singe te la shuji ne lenye ungi chane shu chane jago yore sirwa tini ti ta zapo sekra tindi te ne khoa yidu mais and
another question that we can also raise relating to this the Nirvana with remainder is that the aggregate of that that the person possess, one who have achieved the Nirvana with the remainder, so is set as the aggregate of sufferings, and usually it means that it is the resulted by the force of karma and mental afflictions, and so therefore the cautions. So here is that because it is that aggregates is acquired through the force of mental affliction and karma. So the question is whether that aggregate is it can be called as samsara or not. So that is another thing which is the debated loss.
That is putting Hawaii Shin Mare, Carson Dutch Macor, Kwa Pombares, Tisa Titula, Hawaii Shin Mares.
Yeah. So there are some who maintain that it's not samsara, that the form that the aggregate is of the suffering is not samsara, but it is included within samsara. So the reason why it's not samsara, so they argue, they maintain that because as the you have achieved nirvanas. So you have the abandoned, or you have eliminated the samsaras. So therefore, the body, the aggregates, therefore can't be samsaras.
네 다된 코와 마이나 원하니 코에 된다 되는데 간에 그죠 그래서와 지데레스 니라니 코코로 부자리 되고 코 이나 부자 이거 뭐가 아니 원한 코와 마품비 그 구조 저거니 뒤대 삼아 코와를 왜서 아니 이렇게 제요 그래서와
코와 마방도
코와 마품비 구조여와 디지지 둥가된 뭐 차성한테 아니 코와를 왜 했어와 아니 코와 그리 보자리 때 이나요 코와 이나 보자 이거를 왜 했어.
So there's a lot, of the different positions that that is, you can maintain in these discussions regarding the samsara. What is samsara and what is not samsaras? So generally we say that samsara is something, in general is said is an object to be eliminated. Okay, so that is there's no question about that. And but now there can be have a different the answer. If we now then ask question whether if anything that we can label, we can call as samsara, must be also be something, the object to be eliminated or not. So that is the questions, and then there's also with regard to so here we're talking about what is what's the criteria to we can to describe, to say something is samsara or not. So if the criteria is the truth of sufferings, again, the truth of suffering, and then whether something is samsara or not, then there is also the questions whether then anything that is entity or anything that is truth of sufferings, so necessarily be samsara or not. So that's the questions.
제장하다 코마 봄비 구조 그저 니 레니오 기슈와 토체 아니 코아리 세거나 양득간 루제 빌루 손자 이치 넘바시바 구조리 세거와 인지 넘바시바 구조리나 아니 코마 봄비 구조 그저 아니 이치 넘바시바데 아니 두데레 되어레 레니오 기가 시와가만 레니오 기 시와이사 아니 둥가 템퍼레데 대인사 된 코와를 왜서
So it's just open for the discussions. So like, in here, we are following the school of Madhyamika school of Sotantrika, right? And so now according to the Sotantrikas, then really the example or the identity of the person is the consciousness, the mental consciousness, which is considered as an example or the illustration of the persons. So and then the question is now, if that's the case, then what about the mental consciousness, of someone, who has not abandoned samsaras, who have not, free, liberated, achieved the liberation from samsaras. So we normally say that the aggregates of that, consciousness, including mental consciousness, so is is a samsaras. So therefore the question is, if we consider anything that is samsara is object to be eliminated, then this is a serious question. Then what about that? The consciousness, mental consciousness of a person who has not abandoned samsaras.
제장아니 답변아 시왕가만 낼 시행도 잘 아니 디그 시왕가만 페이지 낼 시행 페이지 무시왕 페이지 레요. 무시왕 페이지 레데 아주 개와쳐데 거래서와 개와쳐데 이자 대우 니다 레니용 슈마레서와 마마 레드니용 그 슈네 무시왕 페이지 레 송이 아니 데 레요레 니모요레 제자 레드니용 중고레 대야니 뭐는 기와래 되어 레스로와 아니 부자래 가르레스
코아레스
코아는 레스로와
So there's a lot of to your discussions on really finding out what samsara is can get very confusing. So like for example, we normally say that the throwing karma which result one to find a good rebirth, such as a rebirth of human being, we normally say is a virtuous, virtuous karma to which will take the rebirth in throwing karma, and so so therefore that karma is obviously it is within the we're talking about something within the cause of samsara, and so therefore whether that karma isn't that karma true is a if it's a samsara, and so therefore wouldn't that be true, the object to be eliminated or what, and so you can raise all these kind of things, these matters.
Ata tedu tela supani ani topa mombo je yores tane mil topa chine ma jewa je mombo yores rawa zol jewa je tane yafu yores.
So I'm sure if you think more on this, then you can bring up, come up with more caution. You can come up with more cautions, and so it will be good to raise in the process of learning to raise as many such caution as you can.
제상다 야 디간은 가서티 니도제가 네 쳇제가 되자텔라 운에지도 운부터 보지 니 그게제시요레스.
Okay, now in the relating to this the words of paying homage, and then we touch on the student of the ornaments, and which there are two types, in terms of their mental capacities, so that we have the student who are like a sharp-minded, who are the follower of reasons, and the dull-minded who are the follower of faith.
제장아 시도는 다티 너 체제 가서는 쳔바선데라 염스네니 타녀야 그래서와 이 쳔바선스네 이 쳔바선스네 타녀야와데 가르스네 염스는 가서 비전안에 아메가 시선하고 나지 자고 그래서 대자 아메가 소소고 부투 소슈 아말 소슈 부투 소슈 시비 니파요라와 대자 대노지가 단다 아니 쳇서텔라 페나 지셰라 니티로와노지 니티다 좀 공부를 좀 니파에 봤다 아니 로셰라 때네 쇼지세마노지 세제지 대셰비 니파에 봤다 아니 노체티가 노체라 때네 수제 폼페가니 친코코이 니파에 Tendigo that Nipaya Palatene, ni Amanuji Koye Izani, Kola Yansine, Tanya Shawres.
So in the here, so I think we also find in the here this term mother, which is used to refer to these three knowers as a mother, and so which is in Tibetan, which is the honorific word for the mother in Tibetan, which call it Yum. So this is what they use here. So it's a mother. So mother is someone who give a birth to children. So here the similarities here of referring these three knowers as a mother is that each one is a cause for this three being, like the hearer or Sharvakas, and the Bodhisattvas and the Buddha to be able to achieve what they wanted to achieve, such as because of the knower of the basis, the hearers and solitary realizers are able to achieve their goal of nirvanas, of the liberations, and the Bodhisattvas, because of the knower of the path, so they are able to achieve their goal of the complete enlightenment to benefit all sentient beings, and the because of the knower of the knower of omniscience, or the knower of aspects, knower of the exalted knower of aspect, that the Buddhas are able to turn the wheel of dharmas.
Kesi ngai shui jachana chesa te ngijela she thungnim thungmdu so ne chesa chi ngol chewa che ani wana chesuna ani chesa nipa karne de sene nipal chewa che ani tndig pi jinse yonda mombo jila tene chewa che ne ani jine ko ne dewa che ichi she sunza tndire de yores.
And we note that the way the true students of the ornaments generate faith in these three knowers is that the students of the like sharp mental faculties, so they cultivate faith. Through through the understanding of these three knower, through their mind, through their reasoning mind, that they understand. For example, they are understanding the nature, nature of the three knowers, and then to trying to and knowing that if they meditate on that, would they be able to actualize these three knower within themselves or not? Really, it is possible for them to gain these three knowers, within themselves of knots. That is all based on their the knowledge of the three knowers. And likewise, then after having gained these three knowers, what sort of benefits, what sort of the advantages of the power that the give to them, what this through this knower would empower them to do. So all these are the understanding all these based on their reasoning, and then they cultivate the faith in these three knowers.
Chechangata ripa yunda yilatene ane ichi shewaisa ta tani ripa yunda de kandere de shagu yores.
So therefore there is each study on this how the student of sharp-minded, how they cultivate faith, and which is based on the reason, and then these lead to the issue of what kind of reason, the valid reason, how they develop the valid reasons to develop their understanding. So that will be that is another huge topics.
Chitanga ne ta tela yune ne ripa mandra mumbu isunja resro ne ta tombo tela ni chiwa na chino chi ngola chepa chitata chi tensi isne chino chi ngola chepa chitata chi tensi te kar segna ne jilano so te chichen ro demba mete dembe chito dembe tama kuru matweis chito tama kuru matwe tola tene ne jilano so te deme jowaisa ne chitata chi tensi isne tene me jagiras chi ngola chewa che.
So the student of sharp faculty, so they employ so many reasons to understand the nature or the reality of the three knowers. So in short, so all the reasoning that they employ, can be categorized into few, such as like few main one, such as there's a reason of refuting the one or many to investigate the natures. So in this for this, how they use this first reason, reasoning of refuting one or and many. So that is to make a statement like statement that these three knowers, as a subject, these are three knowers. Three knowers are, or three knowers, do not, let's say, truly, truly exist as one or many, and because the sorry, truth. So the three knowers also are lacking true existence. So because they do not truly exist as one and many. So that is the kind of the main logical statement that can be used to as an example of that the first type of reasoning.
jil chewa doji semi tensi sene pena nga doji sema singi te tuchi no pe in sare ni nga te trouble doji ya tingol tsemo na tene mumuda no te no ji tsemo pa te jana ta tani ki tsenja tani pa te jana ta mi shendo ga newa tsu marwa no ne tani ki pe jil chewa ga chingi ga pe tensi yong da doji sema ndra go tani no res
and then the second reason where is that the reason is called as the vajra the vajra splinter, reasons, the vajra splinter reason to investigate the gulchor, to investigate the cause.
Ne ta tezi de karna ke gorsena pena ne jlano seta ta na jonan digore ona nyuta shana digorwa te to mo shepa te shi mshete te to ma do to yen to ni ka to dime kurule shege mundu sene tni ge jinse yu to la te ne jela te ne chewa she gores
ta ta gi ti ja ko ning the gana ste ba the ta de ge jowa de ge ko jo de
dagaro yere
la
dagaro yere shogun ga chung agu te
mo chung ye go re chi ba
go ye to
la okay
da
nyogu cho jin wa
nyogu chi jin diru nyogu ja do wa
la la
ta de nga zo pe ke yung go ro wa
la
tni chin ta jla no sal ta te no na te jla no sal che wa chi go ro wa ina ta te pe ke di tsala nyogu chi che sta ni pa ter da te to mo che te te to mo do to ye to ni ka to jime kure mo che we chi se ne ani tni zo ma ji te go la te de yung go res.
Okay, then so the logical statement for the reason of a vajra splinter reason to investigate the cause. So now for the statement, so for the subject, instead of using 3 novels, we can also use the nyugula like a sprout, sprout. The sprout as a subject, so which the do not ultimately arise, and because it do not ultimately arise by itself, or arise from itself, or from others, or from both itself and other, or without causes. So that's the kind of the statements, logical statement for that second type of the reason. Loss.
Ne sambatela ne yeme shengu tensi sene ndeula chepa yeme shengu tensi sene ne nyogu chi chen ten to ma shete rongi ji ti se ya pa yu ma she rongi ji ti se ma pa yu ten to ma she sene tani ke ngores.
And the third reason, which is called as the reason the reason of refuting or refuting the productions, from production from existence and non-existence, and which is so. This is to investigate the result. So for this, the logical statement, which is given as an example, is again the subject. Subject can be same like the sprout, and do not ultimately, arise, do not ultimately arise or produce, because it doesn't ultimately produce as a something which existing, something which is existing during its causal time, or as a something which do not exist, not existing, do not during its causal time.
Ani jawatela ni jinde nikal chewa maji shengu tensi sene. Ani nyoga chichen ani ta tomba mashete jit megun rew chi khona ta tomba mashe jit megun rew tama khona ta tomba mashe jichi kin rew tama ta tomba khona mashe jichi kin rew chi khona ta tomba mashe wa mai sene. Ani majal sene she go res.
And then the fourth reason is called the reason of four, four possibilities, which is to investigate the cause, cause and effect, both cause and effect. So now the statement, the logical statements, an example of that, of the logical statement would be something like the subjects still use the same, the sprout. So is do not is not like produce ultimately, and because it because it doesn't ultimately produce from like many causes, from the many causes to me, from many causes to produce a single result. From many causes to produce single result, or from many causes to produce many result, nor from single cause to produce many result, or produce single results.
Mata ngawatela ni ripitapo tende chitensi sene nyogichi demba mete tende imbe sene ani tani tola tene ni jewa cheyungo resro.
And then there's the fifth one, which is called the reason, which is called the kingly reason of dependent arisings. So so that the logical statement for that would be like, again, the subject can be the sprout, and then the and lacking true existence. So because it is dependent arisings, and
ina ta tene minga zote mongbo she dene tundo ne ta tenzi tombo ti quality shuna samsos.
Yes. So this, so I've just we found the list of the 5 different types of reasons, very reason, and then we have given just an example of the logical statement for each. But of course, you can come up with many as many as you example as you can to for this. So however, so among these 5 reasons, so we will do bit of explore a bit on that first one, the reason of refuting the one and many to investigate the nature. So this is just give you some idea that when we to explore this whole about this whether how things exist in reality. So it's not just one line of reasonings, but we've just noted that there are so many different formats, different lines of reasoning can be applied.
Chitaji ngola chengi gtis chitaji tensi tikiagitire ne tombola jilano se chichesro de mamatate denda chidu denda tamakuri tamatawe sene toji ke yongores pena zunye janse.
So just go back to the logical statement for the first reason of objecting one and many to investigate the nature. Okay. So that the statement is that the subject, which is the three knowers, are lacking true existence, true existence, because they do not truly exist as one and many. For example, the reflections in the form. So reflection of form. Yeah.
Ani zunyete ke ko zunyete kades ke gursena pena chegnu ngaso zunye shawaina do melunu zunye shawaina da tindi zunyete ne ngaso melunu taditsala ngaso susu yimba no goji nungu yorete ne susu reyo maresrowa te ne tetoma matate ne tetoma jiu mata tamo mata sene telpeke ne ma tesi roko hores.
So the example of the form, reflection of form is used here. So that is, you could have the reflection of form in a mirror or in water, and so so this is like a similitudes to understand just as that the reflection of a form which in a mirror or in the water, which may appear to our mind as a real, but of course it is not real. So this is what is showing how in same way these things like these three knowers or all the things they appears in one way, but they exist in reality in a different way.
Chezangata jalono si dema mata de dende chidu kurutma kurimata we sere ta te jinse yuntore ta go resanga chorwa jinse yuntore ta wala ni te tsen yimba iko res shuchi do jecha ducha san iko res.
So I think to understand this full how this logical statement, how it work, and then to understand to infer, to gain the inference understanding of this subject matter. So we have to first of all we have to understand, we have to ensure that the reason that we provide in this statement, logical statement, is the valid or is a healthy one. Because if the reason is not valid, then it won't be we won't be able to then to establish the assertions.
제장아 다 동보 또 tsatsaanu shuchi te tagare kawata goorelna ni jelano sote ni demba mete dendra chido tama kuri mata we sere jelano sote dendra chido tama kuri mata bare ndiwe te tak gores seji te to de yore ndiwe tak gores.
So we have to know, so first we have to know what can can categorize the reason as a valid reasons, what qualified, rather, the qualified, or how we can define the valid reasons, something, whether something is a valid reason or not. So it is said the valid reason must be three modes, three modes. So there is which, just to explain, three modes are when you look at the statement, logical statement. So there's a subject, the property, the reason should be the property of the subject. So the property of the subject, that's one mode, and then the other mode, next mode, it should have the reason, the relation, or from the reason to your like a propositions, part of the proposition. It should have like a pervasion, forward pervasions, and also that's the second mode, and then third mode is the should also have like a counter pervasions. So these are the three: the subject, the property of the subject, and then the forward and the forward pervasion, counter pervasions. So first, if we look at the subject, the property of the subject. So here the subject is the three knowers, and then the property, which is the reason. So we are saying that the reason which is given here is that it's not truly do not truly exist as one and many. So if that reason is a subject of the property, so is the property of the subject, then the subject must be the reason, but the subject must be something which is truly not one and many. Loss.
제자네 다 느리 빼진 거네 좀 뜻이 콜레라면도 송거 됐어. 그래서나 다 파주다 지기 잘부터 와지네 도와지 된 거야나. 파주텔 지기 잘부터 매사레스. 그래서나 도와 된도 하시네. 맞죠? 더베기 진cel라테네 파주텔 매 와지 하고 도요 와서. 제자가 아니 다 파주텔 빼나 아니 도와지 된 거였다. 매매 하마고 텐소가 해딩이 구조지라. 아니 매요래 가르스나 더와 요래스네 아니 동보 아니 파주텔라 아니 더와에 봐도 동보 체망이 막 그냥 놓고 왔어.
So it's like to explain again the meaning of this the property of subject and so on, to explain the valid reason, the qualification of the valid reason. So if I give you another like a logical statement, which is quite normally which we use in our own mind, like for example when we see in a distant hill, when we see a smoke really smoke billowing, then we immediately think that there is a fire, okay? And when we say there is a fire there, our reason that we use is that because there is a smoke, smoke in that over there, in that distant hill. So in that exactly same, in this, our subject is that hill there, and there's a hill which has got a with a smoke billowing the hill, and then now what we suspect is that there is there is a fire there, and the reason that we give is the smoke. There's a smoke there. There is a smoke. That's the reasons, right? So when we talk about in order for this reason, our reason is that there is a smoke. That is our reason. So in order for this reason to be valid, so the first mode is that it must be the property of the subject. That is to say that hill there must have the smoke. So if that hill has a smoke, then that fulfill that first mode, which is that that reason that we have provided is the property of the subject. No. Okay. So now if we think about this, the statement, logical statement that we find in here, so where we're saying that the subject is three knowers, and then three knowers, and we want to understand that three knowers are lacking true existence, and then the reason is because they do not do not truly exist as one and as many. So therefore, to be in order for that, so the reason must be three modes. So the first mode is the reason must be the property of the subjects. So in which case, so these three we have to establish in our mind that the three modes, the three knowers are the three knowers, do not exist, truly exist as one and as many. So both. So there's two things there. The three knowers do not exist truly. So do not truly exist as one. So we have to know that, and do not truly exist as many.
다 딘딜라니 슈치데 드러위 들을 가르드거스나 스니에 비누네다 동보 서트모델 지드네. 아니 jelano 서치제 덴바트베 지드메데 차제 임베스.
So we have to establish the first mode, that is that to establish in our mind that the reason is the property of the subjects. So which, as I said before, which is that to say that the three knowers do not truly exist as one and many. Okay, so let's, in order to establish these, so let's break that the establishment of the reason as a property of the subject into two statements. Okay, so the first statement, we want to establish that the subject three knowers is not do not truly exist as one. Okay, so to establish that, we want to know why it it do not exist as one. So again, so we have to establish that, we have to give another reason. So the reason given is that because it has parts. The three knowers do not truly exist as one. So because it has parts, because it possesses parts.
다 차지 임베다 데르 지도 메테 차지 임베 원아 차지 인데 가르레스는 오 차지데 맞지다 그거래서 아니 차지 인데 가르스는 예와 공신 참에 시절 쓰요 말이었어. 참에 치네 요 말에서 여와 차손네 시자 차수 차제래 되어res. 대인사 대지제 차지 이제 가르스는 여와 강아지 참에 시자라 쓰고 말에 차제도 참에니 인가래 되어res.
So now we might have here problems because we might want to know why we might have to now to understand this in the last statement, which to say the three knowers do not truly exist as one, and the given reason is because it is because it possesses parts. Now we might want to know why it possesses parts, and so we need to provide another. We may it depends on another reason why it possesses parts. So perhaps the another reason we can provide is, subject still the same, three knowers, and then the three knowers possess parts because three knowers are existence, or something existence, and then the partless, something to be called as partless is non-existent or is something impossible to exist. So we can say that.
There is a drawing goddess. Carison Dodona, the Chi in Sonarwa, then the Chi Maites in Dugorwa, then the Chi Sona, Kola Matipigo, ne Chi in Gores. They nane Chache Main Gores, Chache Main, Sikil Mating a Chosuna, Chadu Maching a Chonova, Chache Main Gores. These are the Zetanigo to Gores. So then the chitimate chachi in Besero. That then the chit yesona, Kansi Yekson, Sikil Mating is in Horova. Then a chache Main in Horova. Chitanga, the needs to Gores.
So from the statement that if we say that the three knowers, do truly exist as one, instead of saying do not truly exist as one. So if we say they do truly exist as one, so when we say that, then that gives us a clear notion that if they truly exist as one, then the means that it give a notion that then it must be exist independently. That is to say, not without depending on any other phenomena, and so therefore it can't have parts. So in other words, it has to be partless.
Anta nipatel dendaji tamamete seke gongoro dendaji tamamete karisena dendaji chi meves
No.
jinse karisena chi te tamala tene jogo korwas tamachu mene chi te nil tene jogo gor chi te tum mene ta ni josa chi yomarwa.
Yes.
Oh tnishi.
So it's important to establish that the first this how the things do not truly exist as one, because after because if we already established that things do not truly exist as one, then this would naturally follows that it can't truly exist as many, just for the simple reason that it do not truly exist as one, because without one, if thing doesn't exist as a one, then how it is impossible to exist as many. So therefore, that second part of this, when it truly do not truly exist as one and the many. So how we can see if we could prove or establish that the these three knowers do not truly exist as one, then we can automatically, or we can then from this reason that it do not truly exist as one, we can infer that it can't exist as many.
That Tandila Tene, Tsagan Shuchi Tengan Hores, Karzana Jolonos, Dendachido, Denatumakuri Mapate, Kuriti Mapate, and Roiza, Shuching and Hores.
So that's how, just giving a thought on this, and then if we reach to the point where we can see that the subject, three knowers do not truly exist as one and many, then at that point, then we have established the first mode of the valid reason. That is the establishing the reason as the property of the subject.
Chechangata Jecha Kanisingana Pena Tanginguma Pejoj Tagaruje, La Pajala, Tawayunguyana, Tell Mayete, Tawaye Sere, Ta Tela Tawayepa Hakotsa, Shuching Yazarwa, Ta Jecha Nyan, Ta Tel Mayo Kanis Hakugursena, Tawayana may be Chawat Tokurwa, Nela Karisena Tawayana, that may go as a Tichawat Tosuna, and Jine, Tapwilla. Me sare so hakun horwa chawatni zonto gores.
So then the next the second the mode of valid reason. So as I said before, the definition of a valid reason is the three modes, three modes, MODS. Of logic. So now we've finished the first mode, that is the property of the subjects. Now the second is called as the forward forward pervasions. That is, forward means from the reason, So reason pervading to the we call it the predicate. So if we that is in this case, which is the lack of true existence. So now if we take into account of this statement, logical statement of that distant hill which is billowing with smoke, hill with smoke billowing. So that's a subject, and then we think there is a fire. So when you say there's a fire, so that fire is what we call as a predicate, the middle part of these statements. So the first part is the subject, then the middle is the predicate. And the reason is because there is a smoke. There is a smoke, that's the reason. So here, the second mode of the logic, which is called as forward pervasions. So which is that the pervasion means that the reason pervades the predicate. So that means that wherever there is a smoke, so there is a fire. So that must be must necessarily be there be a fire. So that's there should be a pervasions. If there is no pervasion, then the logic, the reason cannot be valid. For example, if it's not necessarily the case that wherever there is a smoke, that there is a fire, then the reason cannot be valid.
Tawayana me pig chawat tu matana, and Pajual tu matoni hamakongi kuzajila, Poge me as a Tawaya Sarisen, Tawai, Poge me or Tawan dua alana, Tawayana me bichawaki hamakoiza, Colajeta Lumaris. This
is like as simple as if there's some person there who who really have bit of who don't understand, who lack the logic of that, the rational logic of the wherever there is smoke, there is a fire. If the person lack that rational understanding, then if for that person, if you make the statement, oh, there is a fire, and then you give the reason smoke, and then person will think, what he's talking about. So now back to our statement, so where the subject, three knowers, are lacking true existence, and because they do not truly exist as one and many, which is reason. So here, the pervasions, the mode of pervasion is to have the understanding that, or the ascertainment that the reason pervade the predicate. So which is that if whatever that do not truly exist one and many, so must necessarily then be lacking true existence. So that must be fully established and with certainty.
tawa yewe shike gire tawa mena me pichawasine kuro dusha ren kurwa tawa mena me pichawasine tawa mena me pichawasine ona tindi de tonde la tindi singen ko hores dusha somebody.
So then the third mode, so which is the called as a counter pervasions. So that is counter is like the opposite to the reason. So in the case of that, the smoke and fire, the belonging subjects, the hill with the smoke, and then there's a fire because there's a smoke. So in that case, the counter is the opposite to if there is no smoke. So and then that is opposite to the reason, and then the counter will be the opposite of the predicates. If there is no smoke, then there is no fire. So that should be necessarily be there is no fire. So that there should be a counter the pervasions, ascertainment of the counter pervasions.
ane ichi masa yawa tseminga kukuwa resarwa tijingi du chi dija unediga ane te chembasa te yawa tsemingi ane tindigi chembasa tela ta rosui sesa ta ane nyedi popa daraja shusen popa seche raja pa ilala otra tagan du yu nyambiga nipa du nyambiga nipa tu kukuwa res nipa yapa tu bigone ta dewa she kukuwa ta.
So in this way, the student, of the sharp mind of the ornaments, so they, gain the knowledge or the understanding of these three knowers, the nature, the reality of the three knowers. Based on such valid reasons, so which like such as we just discussed before. So once they establish all the three modes of the valid reasons, and then so through this reasoning, establishment of the reasoning in their mind, and then they can understand, they can gain the understanding of the reality of three modes, the nature of the three modes, and as well as then they will also understand that how the what sort of benefits or the power, power or the qualities that one can gain, if once after one have achieved, when one achieve the liberation or the state of complete enlightenment. So so all through such through the reasoning, through applying the reason, so they understand and so in this way they develop faith in the three novels.
Pena ngazoti tangi pejoji tagarure ni ta la phaja tela ni ta tawaye pa hako ni shitong tawaye na me ki pi hako ata la phaja pala tawaji ki me yesa lori so song tenso ji sing ni joro tani kuzo tela la phaja me yore ni tawan diwa ta tsene kol chi chena tawaye na me ki chawna nge tawa te chin thong de go te me ma thong yo mare te inayo tawa yana me bi ki chawa chema nge ne lonso tel tene la pa ja tel me yo te nge ro ro o te no jires.
So this the logical statements is help one to understand the things through inference, through inference. And so like in but however it's, as we can see, understand here that it's important in order to gain the understanding that or to cultivate, to gain that inference, that one should be able to establish those reason, all the three modes of reason in one's mind, to then to gain this inference. So, for example, in the case of, like say, for a person who may have understanding that the relationship between the fire and smoke, and who have some already have understanding that where there's smoke there's a fire, but still can doubt. He look at that from the distant hill, and he can see smoke, but still he can have a bit of doubt whether there really is a fire going there or not. There is a fire or not, and then at that moment, if somebody, make that statement to that person, there is a fire, because you can see there's a smoke, and then it can kind of automatically click on that person's mind that yeah, he is right, and that kind of clear up the doubt. So in this situation, even if the person had a thought, person have the knowledge that there is a fire, so there's no and overcome all the doubt that there will be fire or not. Because of that reason, but even if there's no direct, you cannot directly see any fire there, but still can the infer, can have an inference understanding of fire loss.
Why that ne tanda tensi singe shuchi jecha to chase ngma koma nyunge na de chingo tu po ya resra ane ko nyunge na ta ko nyi sa ya po ya jite so ngto koma nyunge na ane de chingo tu po ya sa ta ji kale kale ma le ko yung resra wa.
So today I touched a bit on this about the criteria for valid reasons, and so this is very important. But if some of you might have learned this in the past, and so you are already familiar with that. But those who have not studied this before, so maybe a little bit if it's a little bit confusing or complicating, then suggest you to, not to worry too much, but because we will keep coming back to this again, and also it will be good for you to discuss this or learn about these three modes of the valid reason, and because you will find this very very helpful.
And that thing as the Tangi Khan share ne the Niglo Cheta Chamichi to Koa Yimi, Koa sing it, Koa Mopungi Kuzo de la Yek Roa. Ani Deo ni teacher Kande Koa in a Kande Koa Maina, Roa, at the Nichi Kolpati, Lorisatana Whereas. Yeah.
And then as I raise the cautions relating to samsaras, whether the meaning of the freeing oneself from samsara. What does that mean? So we have found here that we have like an arhat, who have achieved this state of liberation, which is that they have freed themselves from samsara yet. So their body is, we call it the aggregate of sufferings, and whether why if that is not samsara, that body is not samsara, then what is this, meaning of samsara? And so just if people could give a bit of thought on this.
Yeah, and it's Hamala, Kuno de la Suez, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, then, good night to everyone.
Yeah. Oh, Jonju Zenju, Roche, Mache, Pano, Cheja, Shewa, Yamban, Pai, Kune, Gondo, Yeah.